What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Filip Latocha. Today we're going to be talking about my 10K training for racing update, as well as my potential injury that I'm experiencing and how being sick eventually got me to this point and what I'm doing in terms of remediation and the do nots for you so you don't go down the same road that I essentially went down. So before we get into it, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're already subscribed to the channel watching this content. Thanks so much, guys. Love you very much. Let's get into it. So last video I did was basically a discussion of course, I have like two 10K races that I'm 100% confirmed for coming up within the next week or two. That's at least the first one, and the second one's going to be on Thanksgiving Day. It's the Polish Independence 10K race, which I believe is November 7th, so that's like maybe 10 days from now, actually. And then on Thanksgiving Day, I have a turkey trot in the north suburbs of Chicago. And essentially what's happening is I had a more dedicated 10K workout plan immediately after the Chicago Marathon, which in itself is not the best move of all time, but I did feel adequately recovered to start slowly getting back into the grind of training. And now I'm seeing that there's a couple of complications that I need to consider. But anyways, the point is I want to win this 10K race that's coming up. So there's very particular key workouts that I've implemented into my training. And I've nailed maybe 2 of the 4 that I've attempted. And I think at this point it's 2 of the 5 that I've tried, because yesterday's workout was not that great. And the idea is if these workouts are nailed and you get the times you're looking for, if everything goes well on race day, you're just going to have a great time. But now I've got this other thing going on where I have some kind of swelling, some kind of soreness, tenderness in my ankle. But we're going to get into why that's going on. So also in that previous video, I was sick, and I'm still kind of at the tail end of this sickness, which again, it's not the coof. It's just like I had a common cold or something, and then it just kind of turned into a little bit of a cough and then a bit of a sneeze. So it's just kind of, generic vitamin D deficiency season. So that being said, sleeping was a little bit difficult during all of this, and training hard was something I had to put on the back burner for a little bit of time, because you don't want to train too hard while you're sick, particularly for these reasons. It's not what you think. It's not that like you don't have as much energy while you're sick, because realistically you don't, but like that's not the root cause. The idea here is if you are sick, you're typically going to be on some kind of, I don't know, unless you have some sort of house remedy, you're usually going to be on some kind of like Dayquil, NyQuil-esque cough suppressant, maybe a nightcap or like a night, like a sleep aid per se. And what happens is a lot of these sleep aids in particular, they contain a drug. So again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical professional, don't take anything I say for like granted, or like, take it for a grain of salt. I'm not a professional, but here's my theory as to why things are happening. So back to that. The idea is these sleep aids, they contain acetaminophen, which is essentially a painkiller, and that's one of the big aids in like a lot of these things like Tylenol and all these other like shelf drugs that essentially help you have some sort of relief per se. And what happens is, and I think this happens across all sports, is when you take something like this sleep aid or this sort of pain relief, it's like this acetaminophen makes you feel good because, again, it's a painkiller. So when you start doing your workout, you're like, man, I feel like good, like I can continue doing this, and so on and so forth. Even if you took it the night before and then the next morning you're in your workout and doing all this, there's still going to be some residual like effects from those pain killers, essentially. And in my case, I think there were 2 instances where, I'm not going to mention what I took, but again, it did contain acetaminophen, and I did 2 hard workouts the days after that, and I was like, man, my body feels pretty good, and I know I'm like hyped up on these like sleep aids and these cough suppressants. And what happens is like after it all wears off, then you start feeling sort of the pain, and you're like, man, this kind of sucks, like I'm sore, but like I managed to get through that workout just barely, and like I did those intervals at a really good time that I appreciated, but now my body hurts in like these particular places. And what's happening is, it's not that you're ignoring the signs that you should be slowing down or like certain pain points, it's just that your body is suppressing it and you're not as aware that this kind of soreness is going on. So in my particular case, I've always had this issue with like my right ankle and like my right peroneal tendon as of 2019, and essentially it's pretty much right now kind of swollen, kind of dull feeling. And what's happening, I'll even show you guys right now. Maybe it'll fit on the GoPro, maybe it won't. I learned this trick while I was doing some athletics at the Paul. But if you are sore, what you gotta do is you take an ice pack, put it where it's sore, and then tape it on, and it won't come off. So I have this ice pack just sitting there right now, and it's kind of melted off, so it's not as cold and it's not just like as focused anymore. But the icing has been pretty helpful thus far in terms of my recovery for today, because when I woke up I could barely walk. Like, there's some sort of soreness on the soleus calf muscle, on the actual like peroneal tendon, maybe the IT band as well, and it almost feels like the Achilles too. But like, I know if there was an Achilles strain, it would be directly on the back of like my heel, and it's not on the direct back, which thank God, because if I have some sort of Achilles rupture, like, it's over. Like, this whole running thing, say goodbye. But I digress. It seems like it's leaning more towards like the peroneal, and the nice thing about the ice is that it reduces the swelling ultimately in those areas, and I can pinpoint exactly what's going on, and I feel with more confidence that it's on the anterior side of my leg or my ankle, and it's leaning more towards like this IT band peroneal tendon kind of area. So that allows me to isolate it a little bit more if I need to do some sort of like resistant band workouts and whatnot, and I can probably re-strengthen it fairly quickly. Just right now, I definitely pushed it beyond the limit yesterday during my workout, and I'm feeling the effects of it today. So today specifically, which I think is Thursday, October 28th, I'm taking a rest day from running, but I will try to get on like the bike, maybe try to swim, maybe try to lift some weights. That's still within, my realm of possibility, because those are low impact activities and they're ultimately going to benefit my cardiovascular and whatnot. So let's talk about how we got to this point in terms of the domino effect that got us here. So first of all, coming off the Chicago Marathon right away and then going into training, not a great idea. You should definitely take some rest in there just to, give your body some time to recover from the 26.2 mile journey you just experienced, because that's not really, well, A, it's not really great for your body, but two, the recovery on that takes a little bit of time, and you should honestly take like 3 to 4 days off, maybe an entire week. Some people take a day off for every mile they ran, which is like, okay, cool, if you take a month off, whatever works for you, I suppose. So that's one of the problems, is just immediately there was some residual marathon fatigue that I was training through, which was kind of rough. But the way we were counteracting this was starting to take my easy runs very easy. So like trying to push into that 7:45, 8 minute per mile pace, like I was supposed to be doing this whole time. And to be honest, it really helped, because those particular sessions, not only just felt good and just helped me feel relaxed. When I was putting in my harder sessions, I had a lot more energy and I wasn't feeling like I was already beaten up getting into the workout. So that was a huge plus in my opinion in terms of having the easy runs. And like, you don't feel like you're losing any sort of fitness because you're running like 7:45 pace. You just feel good. Your legs are moving. You're able to focus more on like your stride and your form, and it just feels good. You can't go wrong with like having a simple easy run. And basically you can run easy with like a lot of people, which is a good thing if you want to get into like a group run setting or something like that. So I digress. So that was the first problem that led to this injury. The second, of course, getting sick. This is the obvious one. It's not like, yeah, maybe the immune system is pretty beat up right now and I'm still kind of just like going through a couple of things. I'm definitely at the tail end of it now, but yeah, getting sick, like, you can train through a sickness. This is a rule also I've learned with sicknesses in particular, is that if your symptoms are from the neck up, you're good. Just suck it up, go for it. You're not going to have a big problem, which in this case, this was the case. I'm sneezing, coughing, like a slight sore throat some days, and like it's on and off, and it was fine. I can taste everything, so I'm good. Don't even start with me. I'm good, all right? And then, of course, if your symptoms are from your throat down, so you're feeling pain in your body, definitely take some time off, because if that's the case, now you're experiencing something that is actually affecting, the strength within your body. So you shouldn't try to power through something like that. So in this case, all my symptoms are above the neck, we're all good, etc., etc. And then, of course, the third problem here is taking the sleep aids because I'm not able to sleep, whether it be from over-caffeination or being over-caffeinated from drinking, like, hot tea on a day-to-day basis just to, like, soothe the throat, taking cough drops. Just busy with work, perhaps, because like work got really busy too. So I've been up like pretty late most nights. That's also going to cause an issue. And obviously that, as we talked about, these sleep aids and like these cough suppressants and these other pain relief medications that are available to you to help relieve your symptoms, they do contain like these drugs like acetaminophen and other things to relieve the pain and kind of numb it out temporarily or reduce some of your symptoms. And what happens is if you start training with these painkillers in your body, you don't experience the pain necessarily. And if you are in a position where you are injuring something, you're not necessarily going to feel it until it's too late. Which brings us to this point now, is that when these painkillers do wear off in your training and you start experiencing something where, your body is like, you're in the green, right? That means you're just feeling good. Sometimes yellow is like something you're monitoring, like, oh, okay, cool, this is kind of interesting, that this is sore, let's pay attention to it. I'm in the orange right now with my ankle, and it's like strictly orange color because it's not code red. Code red means I broke it. Like, I've been in code red once, and that was for my left foot when I broke it running, neither here nor there. But my ankle right now is code orange because of like the fact that I'm not able to walk properly, or like I'm pretty sure I can't run today because of this particular soreness. So basically I'm off of like all of those, cough syrups and things like that for the time being, because again, I slept really well last night. I still do feel exhausted, but I know I definitely slept like 10 plus hours last night, and my symptoms have begun like wearing off, but I'm still, just continuing the fight to make sure I'm 100% clean after this. So yeah, that's basically kind of telling you the do's and do nots with running while you're sick, while you're post-marathon. And if you are sick and taking like these cough syrups and stuff, definitely what not to do. Like, you should definitely take it easy with these things, not necessarily because you're going to make your symptoms worse for any reason. Like, you're already sick, your body's already fighting off. This is what it is. Like, I can't imagine that you're just going to get worse and worse unless like you're actively encouraging it to get worse. Like, maybe if you're running when it's really cold and you're already sick and like you somehow develop bronchitis, like that could be one of the cases I can imagine where it would get worse. I guess comment section, do your thing. Let me know some other examples that where it could get like significantly worse if you're already sick and you expedite your symptoms to something else. But from my perspective, this is the case. It's like, you got to be careful of what you're doing as a recovery to the sickness, so it doesn't bleed in to your training and basically encroach in a way where you're going to where your training goes in a different route and you feel differently during your training because, painkillers or something like that. So yeah, that's kind of the big spiel here. I do have 10 days to recover for this particular race, and I can still win the race if I take my recovery seriously, if I do some cross training now just to keep the cardiovascular rolling, maybe have some fun swimming finally, because all I want to do is just swim right now because I had so much fun in Colorado swimming. Biking, my bike is still here. I got to jump on Zwift at some point now. It's been a few weeks since I've been on Zwift. Maybe it's a better time than ever to come back. And yeah, just kind of enjoy it for now. The key workouts, like, it's done, like I can't really put in another key workout at this point in terms of a hard level workout that's going to make any sort of benefits for this race. Like, if I'm going to lose this race, I lost under like all elements in which I had control over, besides like the sick part. But like, if I do win, like, it's going to be kind of a lucky one, as I'm feeling right now, because given that like I'm not at 100% by any stretch, I am kind of tired, still recovering from this sickness. It like the field would have to be extremely weak for me to win, and that's just kind of the reality of the situation. So maybe a top 10 finish would be like happy in my book if my ankle is like at least at 90% by the time race day arrives. We'll see ultimately, but this is the scenario right now. I had high hopes for this race, and I still do. I'm just hoping this is going to like wear off in like a day or two, and then I can get back to like, putting in like a moderate workout and then kind of have, some rest, taper things, and hopefully everything works out. And at the very least, for this Turkey trot, I'll be ready at 100%. And then for the Houston hot chocolate, that's months from now. Who knows what's going to happen then. But if you enjoyed this video and me just going on this like rant over my recovery and things I'm doing in training, give it a thumbs up. If you guys got any suggestions for recovery, or you've kind of gone through something similar in your time while training, you know, definitely let me know in the comments below. Always interested to hear people's stories and experiences while running and being sick. But on that note, I'm going to end the video here, so thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys real soon.